Greetings, children of the screen, your friendly neighborhood nerd scum here once again. So this is going to be another video concerning Vicemares. As I told you guys in a previous video, I'm starting a playlist where we're going to kind of go through the production of the film, and I'm going to give you guys kind of a look behind the curtain. So far on that playlist, we have segments of our first ever read-through, about 4 of them up so far, and there'll be a few more that are added. We got a couple of promo videos up there, and again, we're going to start having these little interview segments. Mind you, on most of those, I will probably be doing the interviewing. However, here I realized, well, I'm always here, so I could go ahead and just start with myself. So today we're going to be kind of discussing what I wanted out of the screenplay for this film. So, if you're not familiar with what I was talking about the Vicemares playlist, there should be a card popping up right now. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching it on IGTV, then just head over to my personal page, and on my bio, you will see a link to my YouTube there where you can find the playlist and kind of go through that stuff. So, as for the screenplay, as it was brought to me, and with the guidelines I was given of 2 guys locked into one location with a lot of drugs and like lots of crazy stuff going on between them, I knew that this was going to have to be a very character-driven as opposed to plot-driven story. And I also knew that these are characters who aren't necessarily morally upright, or might not even be the most likable on the surface. But this gave me an opportunity to do something that many things, actually, that I really like in storytelling. So first off, in terms of the things that I wanted to kind of handle, I really liked the idea of dealing with certain aspects of identity, specifically how bad people identify themselves, how they see themselves, how they define themselves, and how they see themselves as in, like, within the greater context of the world. You know, is it kind of like the classic thing of like, well, you know, everyone believes themselves to be the hero of their own story, or do these guys actually see themselves as the monster, you know, but it's one of those weird 80s movies where the monster is the hero. And, you know, like, it's arguable that monsters have been heroes long before, but that's not the point right now. I really like the idea of exploring that, as well as exploring kind of like, not just between these individual characters, but the way that we view other people. You know, where is that line between, like, a good person, a bad person, and where's the line between a bad person and a monster? Like a human who has crossed the line of humanity and become something else. Like, those were very interesting questions to kind of play with for me. And it also gave me this opportunity to do a thing that I've always loved in fiction. And it really only works in fiction, but it can be something that's very useful and powerful in the real world. And that is, there are these movies where they take characters who you, from the very early on, know that they're not good people. You judge them very early on in the movie, but then as we spend time with them, we begin to see more and more of their humanity. And we don't define them solely by the bad deeds they've done. We begin to empathize with them, even if we can never, and intentionally most of these movies will put you in a place where you never sympathize with their plight or their overall goals, but you do empathize with them. You see their humanity and you can relate to that because you see it reflecting aspects of yourself. And to me, those movies are always very interesting because by the time you get to the end of them, it's not that you forgive these people or you want these people to have a happy ending, but you see them as people, so the way that you emotionally react to whatever ends up happening to them, whether it be good or bad, is vastly changed from how it was beforehand. And there are movies, tons of movies that do this, like The Devil's Rejects is a very extreme example of it and doesn't work for quite as many people, but probably like a great, more mainstream example would be something like Goodfellas or Casino, or like any of the big popular mobster movies, where like, yes, you definitely begin to empathize with these people, but you never really agree with their actions and their choices, but you still see them as people and you feel for them. And I always really liked that, and I feel that that is something that we need right now in the world, because in the world around us right now, we are like at peak tribalism, which is so bizarre, but it's been made even worse by COVID. You know, now we're all very isolated, even more than we were. And so it's become very easy for us to see people who maybe even just 10 years ago who have slight disagreements with us, who those people would have been our allies, but we don't really agree on everything. And now it's like, you disagree with me on this one little thing, then you are my enemy forever, and I hope you burn in a fire. And it's just like, holy crap, dude. Like, let's take it down a second. It is perfectly, like, as human beings, we are perfectly capable of disagreeing with people and actually observing objectively badness inside of people, just objectively moral shortcomings in people without losing sight of them as a person, and at the end of the day, like, we're all in this together, and we're all just people. Like, none of us are perfect, and some of us have done horrible things, and some of us have just made little mistakes here and there, and we've learned from them. But at the end of the day, like, no matter who we are, no matter how we disagree, no matter how far on opposite ends of the spectrum we are, like, we're all still people. And I feel like we've made it so easy for us to lose sight of that. And again, I'm not saying that, like, you need to agree with everyone, or, you need to accept what they think, or any of that kind of stuff. It's just so bizarre to see the way that we interact now. It's crazy. Like, things are always up and at 11, and even if you're a person who doesn't take it to 11, then screw you, you're the enemy too. And it's like, holy crap, man. It's kind of made things impossible. It's impossible to have any kind of honest discourse or get any progress going, because everybody is at threat level 11 all the time. Like, it's always at the nuclear level. It's just like, holy crap. And I think that movies like the ones I mentioned, and with what I've attempted to do here, are a safe way within fiction to kind of remind ourselves of that as human beings, that, like, it's perfectly capable, we are perfectly capable and perfectly equipped to see the faults in someone without losing sight of the fact that they are a human, and not losing that baseline compassion that we have for another person just on the sole basis of them being a human being. Because once we start crossing that line, we make ourselves no better than the people that we're condemning. And so, yeah, that's why I've always loved those movies, and I really wanted to try to do something like that here. Follow along with us throughout the course of this playlist, and check out the movie when it comes out, and you can tell me if I succeeded in that, or, if it bit the big one. Because don't get me wrong, these are some really messed up characters. It was a big challenge to try to get them to even be likable or funny on any possible level. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. Anyway, guys, I'm not going to prattle on about this anymore. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and I will see you next time. Nerd Scum.